Moments That Matter is brought to you by Binkley Ross Family of Funeral Homes, by Melise's, and by the Insurance Alliance.
Welcome to Moments That Matter. I'm your host, Melise Oakley. Moments That Matter is a podcast sharing real stories of comfort and care and connections at the Voyage Senior Living. Today, our subject is Your Voice Matters. Planning, communicating, and documenting your wishes. We continue talking with Dr. Cindy Davis. Dr. Davis is a family nurse practitioner. This is planning, communicating, and documenting your wishes.
Yeah.
My focus for this is to talk about that. It can be a huge thing.
Yes.
So let's just kind of go back to, why is documenting your wishes essential for what you do and where you're at the Voyage Senior Living?
There are so many reasons for documenting wishes, depending on where we are in life. So, yes, it's important when you're nearing end of life, but it's just as important when you're beginning life. It's important to me now because the patients that I see, the people that I see, all have stories, all have lives.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that, because the way they leave this world, if given the choice of how it's going to go, matters. And so if I talk to them now about what's important, I can make sure that I get them on the path to it going the way they want it to go. We never think about it. I mean, do you ever just really sit down and really think about, how am I going to die?
I speak to a lot of CNA classes, and I have this exercise. And one of the questions I ask is, what is the percentage that you're going to die? And some of them look at me and they're like, they think it's a trick question. It's 100%, right?
Yeah.
So let's do it with dignity and grace, and do it how, like you said, you want to do it.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have your preferences known in documenting your wishes?
So when I look at things, especially when I look at people that have chronic illnesses, as we've stated before, most of the people that I see have 4 or more chronic illnesses. What's important is this: what interventions would you want should this happen? It's not about what I want or what I think is best, first of all. I am just there to help pull it out. They tell me their story. Right. So for me, I might say, ooh, you have renal failure and you want to have dialysis and you want to be intubated and you want CPR. Oh, I'm not sure how that's going to end. Doesn't matter. It does not matter what I see statistically. What matters is what they want.
That's
is
great.
Done. Now, it also matters that what they want, when they make that decision, I want to make sure that it is a very, very well-informed decision. Because I've seen it when it isn't. And that will change the whole course.
Wow.
Yeah.
So an example, my husband told me he never wanted life support.
Mm-hmm.
COVID came.
Mm-hmm.
We had a family member that had COVID.
Yes.
They were on ECMO.
Oh, yes.
Was on it for several months.
Yes.
Him and I were talking about it. And because I'm very big on knowing wishes and stuff. Because I remember when I first started about this and talking about wishes and so forth. And I remember my mom used to tell me her wishes and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. And now I'm like, okay, what exactly do you want?
Yes.
But my husband said he didn't want life support.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were talking about that. And he's like, I said, well, that's life support. And he was like, well, and he starts backing up. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And so it was an open conversation.
Yes.
We're in our 40s, but it's never too early to talk about this.
Never. No.
Ever. So talking about it when it's not in a crisis mode too,
Thank you.
right?
Making it just a conversation. You know, some people will do it. You know how you have all your family together at
Yes.
Thanksgiving? That is when I hit my dad up. It was Thanksgiving.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then, you know, I had all my family present. The beauty was all siblings were present. We all heard at the same time what came out of his mouth.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, because then no one can say, "Ooh, that's not what he said." No,
Mhm.
that's what he said. We had family and non-family because, you know, you always have that group of people. So that worked out very well for us.
That is a God wink.
And my sister, who is, bless her heart, way more soft-hearted, she would never be able to say, okay, let's stop aggressive treatment. Where I know that's what he said, I would be able to say that. So we kind of divvied up some roles. She did power of attorney for things financial and business.
That's good.
I did things for
The health.
healthcare.
And that's what you need. So that was where your strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your sister's strength.
You
So
divide
could,
and conquer.
and I love, you could even maybe do a game.
Oh, yeah. You could.
That would make, we could maybe make a game of that.
There are some teaching techniques out there. I'm going to be speaking with a group of nurses, and yeah, this is February, just about this and how they can pull out what patients say to them over the phone that would be instrumental in teaching them about what their diagnosis is, and maybe it's time that we really talk about what we want to do next.
Because it's scary.
It's very scary.
And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but it's going to happen. So you need to talk about it.
And you need to understand your illness. You know, we've talked before about COPD,
Right.
So lots of times people don't understand that it's not curable, it's treatable, and that it progresses. And so a lot of people with COPD don't understand that if they get on a ventilator, there's a very high chance that they may not be able to be extubated, and they may have to live with a trach and a feeding tube. That's one of my experiences that made me very passionate about this. I saw a gentleman, his wife wanted everything done, and he had thought the same thing. So that's, you know, he didn't have anything really written. She was trying to honor him the best she could. It was time that he had been on the ventilator, and it was time to make the decision. Do we withdraw from the ventilator, or do we go ahead and put in a permanent trach and a feeding tube? To her, having a discussion about withdrawing and what that would look like, it broke her. There was no way that she could she felt that she would be taking his life from him. So that was too big of a struggle. So the decision was made to put him to have a trach and a peg tube. The thing that was very sad is she did not understand that we do not have facilities in our area that treat those types of people. He was transferred to a place out of state. He later passed away despite having these things. And what really made this heavy on my heart at the time was that she did not drive. He was out of state, and she didn't get to see him. So ever since then, I have been on that. You can ask anyone that I work with. What is my mission? My mission is to have a conversation. You can't do it in one visit. This is a process. Some of the most beautiful words I've ever heard were when deciding what type of treatment patients want, and you're talking to them about comfort care. You say, this is a process, not an epiphany. Oftentimes at the hospital, when I go into a room and I was going to talk to a family about what was happening, again, we talked about how supporting staff sometimes more than the patient. And, you know, you would go in and you would talk to the family. Staff had seen that this family member is just suffering horribly, and it's hurting them to watch this. And the minute I would walk out of the room, staff would come running and they would say, what'd they decide? What'd they decide? And I'd have to say, well, it was our first conversation. You know,
We're not there yet.
it's conversation. Yeah,
But you start the planting the seeds.
absolutely. Planting the seeds.
And that's what you have to start. And it's like you said, and not, like I said, in a crisis mode, because then
No.
people, when you're emotional, those decisions, and then you don't know exactly how to deal with them.
No, when you can't breathe, that's not the time to ask somebody if they want to be placed on a ventilator. We all want to breathe.
Right.
Now, choosing to not have the ventilator doesn't mean that you're going to struggle and suffer. Then we bring in the interventions that will help ease that work of breathing, right? But yeah, in crisis, no, these words are not heard in crisis. We had to do a doctoral dissertation because I was passionate about this. I wrote about COPD and the importance of advance directives. I had a lady, she taught me, she was admitted to the ICU at least 10 times. I went to talk to her about her plan of care. And I said, do you want to be intubated again? And she looked at me and she said, well, yeah, it works every time. So for her, it works and it's beautiful. So, okay, let's have a conversation and let's make sure we are clear and everyone else is clear and they understand why that decision's important to you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because especially with our residents, we're helping them with that final chapter of their life.
Yes.
And it's very important. And because we need to look at that person as a person.
Yes.
And it's their choice.
Yes.
And getting that conversation started with the family, and it's their choice. So we need to respect that.
Yeah.
And like you said, don't put any kind of bias.
Right. Zero bias.
And I bet sometimes it's hard, though.
It is. I saw, recently, I saw someone who went through CPR. She did make it to the ICU. And it's okay because that's what she wanted. So sometimes it's hard because good CPR, if it's effective, it breaks you. So that was difficult for me. But when I see people, we have it's called a POLST, a POLST. And so
that's a good document.
Yeah, it's orders for life-sustaining treatment. What's beautiful about having that filled out for every single person at the Voyage, that's my goal, is that there are several choices. So your first line says, yes, I want CPR. No, I do not want CPR. Okay, we have that conversation. There are several elderly people that are going to say, absolutely not. So, okay, easy, boom, right? We've got that box checked. Next, what type of treatment, though? Do you want, some people say, I want everything done regardless of the cost or how much suffering I'm going to go through. We'll honor that, okay? That means you are a full code and you want everything remotely possible done. Perfect. That further leads to, that means, yes, you want to be intubated, and that means, yes, you would want to have artificial nutrition, should you need it. Yes, you would want dialysis, should you need it. Okay, now let's go back to the person that said, nope, I don't want CPR. Then we have two more places we can go. We can go to selective treatment, or we can go to the next box down that says comfort measures only. All the time I see no CPR. Yes, if I had a bladder infection or I had pneumonia, absolutely. I do want to go to the hospital for IV antibiotics and oxygen, but I really don't prefer intubation. Beautiful. Then I have someone who is 98 years old. She says, I am just here biding my time. She says, I am just waiting for Jesus to take me home. Her choices are, do not resuscitate me. Don't you dare take me to the hospital, and you let me allow to stay in my apartment and live out my life very comfortably until the end right here. So those are kind of the three scenarios. It can get very muddy and messy.
Yes. I know, for instance, my grandfather had Alzheimer's, and this was back in the 80s. He was one of the first in my family to actually have the Alzheimer's. And they were feeding him baby food. And I remember seeing that. And can you kind of just tell us about the myth of the food? Because this is good. Because my love language is food.
Yeah. Oh, man, yes. So part of this is science, all right? Part of this is how God built our bodies. So my opinion and my full belief, because I've seen lots of this, is that when we are nearing the end of our lives, We need the teeniest amount of food because we're really not doing a whole lot.
Right. We're not up going to the bathroom.
No.
We're not.
You can sustain a body for a very,
Very long time.
very long time with sips of fluids and teeny bites of food. Okay? So what we see when we talk about force, I call it force feeding. But as a culture, what do? We feel good when we're together and we're eating. So if our loved one is not eating, we feel bad.
They're going to starve to death. That's the big thing.
So what I teach is this. Do you know how you feel after you have Thanksgiving dinner and you've eaten every single thing that you wanted to eat? How do you feel after that? Do you feel good?
No.
Are you tired? Yeah. You have to loosen your belt, maybe. Right? So when we are nearing the dying process, if we force feed someone, everything has to go somewhere. Well, when you think about all of our muscles and how they work, from your mouth to the exit is a muscle. As you get weak, these muscles weaken. You force food in on that, these muscles, you have these little things that propel things through, okay? I'll put it that way. They get tired, they don't propel, and so the food sits. When the food sits, we have to digest the food, correct? When you digest food, it consumes a huge amount of your energy. So guess what happens? You have to rob energy from somewhere. That energy is going to be robbed from your thinking, your ability to speak and have meaningful conversations with each other. So there we are. We're back to trade-offs. Do I want to get really full? Do I want to visit more? Your loved one is going to tell you, I don't feel like eating, and it's okay. I had this talk with a lady the other day. She had 5 bites of mashed potatoes. She was so proud, too. 5 bites of mashed potatoes, and guess what? Probably 6 bites of cherry pie. And that's all she wanted, and she was so content. Are we going to force her to eat more? Absolutely not. Same with fluids. You put a lot of fluids in on a body that's leaving us. Those fluids will go outside of the cell. Oftentimes they end up in lungs. Lungs fill up. It's very distressful. So food is not everything we claim it to be.
That was really good how you described that. I understood it, but that is really good.
Yeah.
So our time has already gone.
Okay. We did it again.
So I know. So I think we still need to, there's so much more. There's so many different layers on this.
There is.
And I would love for you to come back.
I would love to do that.
Okay.
My husband knows my wishes.
Mine does too.
I have an envelope in my glove compartment as well. So, all right.
That's great. That's it. We can talk
Put them
about
everywhere,
that.
folks.
Yep. Thanks for joining us on Moments That Matter. Remember to follow Moments That Matter, the Voyage Senior Living, on Facebook and on YouTube for more heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and cherish the moments that truly matter.
Moments That Matter is brought to you by Binkley Ross Family of Funeral Homes. Locally owned and operated. Binkley Ross Funeral Home, Blue Funeral Home, Mitchell Hughes Funeral Home. Call 618-997-7771 or go to binkleyross.com. By Melise's, tuxedos, menswear, custom embroidery, and apparel. Melise's, the best little suit shop in town. Call 618-993-1800 or go to melises.com. And by the Insurance Alliance, helping families feel secure today and prepared for tomorrow. Learn more at theinsurancealliance.com or call 618-532-2277.